So Sunday night is to spend time with, with the kids and enjoy doing stuff together. And so we've got a film night and we take it in turns to suggest films and then we all watch it together.
So you prioritise your family life as well as your work life, which is good.
It is really good. And I actually put it in place after doing that 7 Habits course, actually. Have you done that?
Did you? Yeah. I've done that. And it's I know that's going out across the business, actually. So,
yeah, it's really good.
So what was that? What did you pick up from the course? Sorry, that made you do that.
Well, you start with a 360 and you get a load of feedback. And part of that feedback I got lots of really good feedback. And part of the feedback, I got loads of feedback. So part of that feedback was work-life balance, and making sure that I don't do too much time at work and I don't focus too much on work. And then I love spending time with my kids. They're really good fun. And so we thought, look, that's one way to do it, is to do a film night. So we take it in turns and then they all suggest a film and then we all watch it together.
Has anyone suggested something very controversial?
On Sunday, we watched this one called The Platform, and it's really dodgy. So I had to sort of hide the kids' eyes at some point, but it's a brilliant film. And then this week coming is Shawshank Redemption. It's quite hard to say. Shawshank Redemption.
Great film.
And then when I suggest a film, they're always like, "Dad, this is so weird." I'm like, "Yeah, it's nice and weird." So
that doesn't sound like you, Tom, in any way.
Yeah, we watched Delicatessen, and they were like, "What is this even about?" Anyway.
Yeah. So film nights on Sunday, and then. Most of the time, Monday to Friday, and that perfect time to introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Tom. I'm the Menswear Design Manager for Next.
Menswear Design Manager. So, what's that involve anyway? Like, that's quite a broad title. Yeah.
So it's really, I guess. Helping the designers as much as possible to deliver amazing product, and we go. That's it really in a nutshell.
So design's really, really important then.
Yeah, design's really important. Next, just as a general rule.
As a general rule, yeah. And where's it fitting in the whole product process and cycle then? Like, talk me through that.
Okay, yeah. So I can explain, if this helps. I can explain roughly what they're here to do.
Yeah.
So I think of it as in like a 3-process thing, is in a nutshell, which is designers do loads and loads of research, so they understand the trends and what's going on in the world of fashion, and uncover new ideas. Then they sell those ideas. They sort of like communicate those ideas and get everyone really sort of excited about those ideas to their colleagues and to the managers. And then once those concepts have been sort of signed off, they go away and design it. And they think about, okay, what's the trend? What is it that we're trying to deliver? What's new and exciting? And then how am I going to make it relevant to these different customers that we have? And we sort of work to sort of imagine like 5 or so different customer profiles, and we're constantly evolving what we deliver to those people. So every customer wants newness. So they know the trends and then they deliver those trends to those customers. So it goes research, sort of communicating, and then design. And all three are really important.
So it's not just a case of turn up, draw something down on a bit of paper, go, this is what we're doing, off we go. Sounds like, rightly so, there's a lot more complexity to it. And it's not just a case of you've got to be someone who can draw to design.
You have to be. So if you break them down, like you have to be really good at uncovering new ideas and aware of trends. So that's really key. Then you have to be really good at sort of communicating and influencing others. So you don't have to be like a mad extrovert and super like woo. You can be. There's ways of just influencing people in a very quiet way.
Yeah.
But finding a way to influence your people, building up trust with the people you work with, so you can sort of sell those ideas, and then designing, that's sort of the traditional part where you're you're sort of choosing, making sure the fabric's exactly right, the buttons are right, the stitching, the colour, the silhouette, and just considering everything which you think that customer will resonate with that customer.
And what, out of those 3 parts that you've just described there, what's your What would you say is your favourite part that you like, part of that process?
Well, because I came up through design, so designing is brilliant. And if I had to pick one area to design, which I don't have favourites. I'm not a favouriteist guy. But I would do shirts is brilliant because you get to design everything. You get colour, you get fabric, silhouette, detail, print, trim, everything. You get the whole thing to consider. But I've always designed all multi-product, and what's interesting, I think, is interesting about all my designers that work in menswear is they're all miles better than I've ever been at a single product area.
Big compliment.
Well, they just become experts because they sort of work on. You get for example, our knitwear designer moved on to soft accessories, and our denim designer a few years ago moved on to outerwear. So they move around, and they become absolute amazing experts at that one area. And then they sort of move around to another one and another and another. Same with the assistant designers too. Whereas I've always worked multi-category, and therefore you like the jack of all trades, master of none.
Right.
Yeah. So they're all miles better than me at doing what they do.
And whereas what you're saying is because you've always done multi, you've kind of got a really good understanding of everything.
Yeah, how it connects together and stuff like that.
Which is important for your role, though, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, no, it is.
Kind of important. Yeah. So with designing, like you said there, there's shirt designing, obviously.
Yeah.
Which you said is really fun because you basically start blank page, build the colour up.
Yeah.
But there's still then designing in stuff like soft accessories, jeans,
everything,
denim.
Yeah.
That design's not just, I'm going to put a graphic on something.
No, you have to consider everything. So in suits, for example, they'll go to the mills. They'll literally say to them, they'll know what the trends are. So, for example, they know it's a big texture season coming up, or they want really loose, drapey fabrics. So they'll go to the mills and they'll say, they'll describe what they want, and they'll show imagery to say, look, we want it to drape like this. And those mills will create fabrics for them. Or another example will be jersey, and we'll fly off to India, or the designers will. And their buyers as well, and they'll go through fabrics and stuff, and they'll go through loads of fabric and say, well, I like this, and why don't we do it this way? And they'll create their own fabrics, and so they create it really from the ground up. And that's where you get the best garments are always when you start with fabric first, really.
So designers.
Actually, I don't think that's true. Sorry, you might want to. I just made that statement thinking, actually, is it completely true? But yeah, a lot, a lot of the time.
Yeah. So the designers are there at the beginning as well. It's not like you say, because they're doing that research as well. They're helping influence the decision.
Yeah.
It's not, right, we'll do everything, then come to design and go make something from this. It's a collaborative team effort, right?
Yeah, it's hugely collaborative. Yeah. So I think, so it's design are not the only people who come up with ideas. It's just that is an integral part of their job. But they're not the only people who do it. And then they work with print people, graphics people. They work with mills. They work with suppliers. Loads of different resources here. So, they work. It's a massive collaborative endeavour to create a single piece of clothing.
And for you, on a personal level, where's your passion for design come from then? So how have you got to where you are today, being a menswear?
Can we go right back to my childhood?
If you want, yeah. If you want, yeah. In the beginning.
I mean, I've always, when I was a kid, I was really interested in art, and then as I got older, I got interested in design, as a part, as a sort of progression, and then when I just, I thought, I'll go to, that seems like a good uni course, lots of fun to be had on a design course. So I thought, I'll do fashion. It was sort of a bit like, that one. No, I'm not doing myself, I'm doing myself a disservice. I looked at lots of different courses, and I spoke to a lot of different people who had graduated, and I said, well, that seems like a good career. I did make a sort of intelligent decision, I think. But I think a lot of it, for me, right, this is very, I don't know if this is interesting, but for me, it was like, I like uniqueness, and I like things to be new and unique.
Okay.
So working for a mass produced, that's not necessarily unique.
But but that's an interesting mindset. You're taking that mindset then into pretty much all your meetings that you're going into, when you're collaborating with people, when you're designing yourself. you're thinking, I want it to look unique and new?
No, that's
in the back of your head. Or
no, it's just a personal thing. Yeah,
yeah, on a personal level. I mean,
it's more like if I'm buying clothes for myself, I think, I'd quite like it. I quite like things that look quite unique.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's it doesn't really extend into it. Fully extend. There's so many other factors that I think about when I'm looking at other people's design, like the taste level and how well it's executed for that customer and everything like that. So,
and is that hard to separate your preference to those customer profiles preferences that you were talking before?
No, you get really into it. So we sort of try and get to, and it's like, it's not very scientific, but we try and get to like what's really driving that dude or that person to make that purchase. Yeah. So for example, we've got a customer who's really interested in looking really blokey. Like he wants to pass the pub test. So he wants to go to the pub, and if anyone's well, I think of it like and he wants to go to the pub, and if everyone's like, "Oh, what are you wearing?" then you failed. He's sort of imagining himself viewed through the eyes of other men. So he's like, he wants to look blokey, he wants to look masculine, and he doesn't want to have the piss taken out of him. But it's really important to remember all customers want newness. All customers want to go in and find something that that'll make me feel good. And they want to, in one way or another, one level or another, they want to feel relevant, and they want to feel well dressed, and they don't want to feel old and daggy and
So you do really go into psychology of people then. Yeah.
So that's a really interesting customer to me. I really like imagining what the customer and I've got like a muse. So my brother-in-law was in the army, so he's like my muse for that guy. And I think, what would he wear? Although he does like sort of some fun stuff. Anyway, so that's that customer. And then there's another customer. Do you want me to carry on talking about customers?
I mean, talk about a few. Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
So that's one. It's blokey. Another one we work for is like a smart end use. So there's lots of smart end use customers that we consider, and we like this guy's more interested in sort of showing off taste level, and he wants to project. He wants to look good. He wants to attract a mate in the wild. No, he wants to look good. He wants to project taste and he wants sophistication.
Yeah,
and he's often very an urban-based character guy. And so we've got that. We generally call that guy modern man. Modern man. It doesn't sound good. So we worked at that, and there's different ways of delivering that. Some guys are really peacocky, some people are really understated, but they're all like seeking to do the same thing, which is project taste and like sophistication. So that's another one.
So so you've got all these profiles. How does that all then work in the grand scheme of things? Like, when does...
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So we have this design presentation, okay?
Okay.
So we work...
Quite big, is that important?
We do two big ones here, and then we do two smaller ones.
Yeah.
And then what we do is we get our customer profiles. There's about 20 designers in menswear.
Yeah.
And I sort of say, okay, each designer, you work on these customer profiles. So you'll have one or two or three designers working on one customer profile, and they really research that customer to death. And the brief is really find something new for that customer, to find a new story. And they sort of say, right, that's the customer profile, and this is the story I'm going to tell for that. This is the new theme or story for that customer profile.
And then
they go, go on.
Sorry, that design presentation's then...
Yeah, so they go away, research that, and then they create like a mood board. And they can get samples made, or they get swatches and everything like that. And then we present that to everyone in menswear. And we get feedback from the director and the other managers, and in fact anyone. And then we go from there, really. And that's twice a year. It's really big. It fills up a huge room. It's really exciting. So that would be something, if you ever want to come and have a look. I'm sure you've been to one.
I think... Yeah, I think I must have been to one in the past. I'm sure you've invited me along in the past.
Yeah, I mean, we get like helicopters in and motorbikes, people like parachuting.
That'd be good. That'd be good. I mean, it sounds exciting. It does sound exciting. So you do all that. So just going back to your journey, so you did your degree?
Yeah.
And then did you go, right, I'm going to go work at a FTSE 100 company or a big retailer or something like that? Or what? How did you get to Next? Like, what's that journey been crafted like?
Yeah, okay. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to, when I was when I graduated, my idea was, I want to set up my own business at one point.
Okay.
And that, to me, at that time, was like the pinnacle of success. Like, I set up his own business. But so I sort of targeted a startup company and went to work for this guy, and we set up this brand, Folk. But my idea was, okay, well, I'll try that, and then I'll try a medium-sized company, and then I'll try a big company, and I'll sort of collect. Basically, I didn't want to go and start my own business without gaining some knowledge of how to do it.
Smart.
Yeah, but and then Folk. I did work for Folk for about 4 years or so, and then I left that and I went to work for Debenhams, and that was a huge company at the time. It was as big as Next at the time, actually. It was huge. And then I worked for Nigel Cabor and John Rocher and some in-house brands. And that was really interesting, going from a tiny brand to a huge brand. And I was very lucky to get that job at Debenhams. It was just like this woman who employed me, who was leaving. And I think I was quite underqualified. And she was just like, yeah, go on. And so I got lucky.
Oh, wow.
But I really enjoyed it, and I got on really well there. And then I left that to go and work for a medium-sized business. I went to work for French Connection.
Okay.
I only did that for 6 months, and that was a nightmare. And then I left. I'd had a kid by then as well.
So you're a dad as well, yeah.
And that was awful. That was like a living nightmare that time. And then a job came up with this really good brand in Australia, which is about a bit bigger than French, a medium-sized brand. Yeah. Called Country Road in Australia, and that was so my wife's Australian, so we shipped out to Australia, and I had another kid, and I worked for them for about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And that was brilliant, because I worked for a really amazing creative director, and she's pretty hardcore, but she taught me loads about design by just basically telling me when stuff was crap. No, do that again. Doesn't matter what time of day it was. Sorry, how long it would take you, or how close it was to the deadline. She's like, do it again.
It's not quite right.
Yeah. And so she just really enhanced my taste level. She made me. She was just, she really good person. And I worked with some really amazing buyers there. They're not called buyers there; they're called merchandisers, oddly. But
what the buyers are called merchandisers, and the merchandisers are called
So if you get buyers, merchandisers, designers
together.
The high street is more like just merchandisers and designers, and designers do a bit of what buyers do, and then merchandisers there do a lot of what buyers do. So it's like blended into two roles. But it was really good. So the designers got a lot involved in costings and things like that.
Okay.
But that was great. So I did about 10 years there, and that was a medium-sized brand. And then during that 10 years, I thought I wrote a business plan to do my own brand.
Back to the business.
Yeah. And I just sort of came to my own realization that, man, I'm never going to do this, because I don't think I'm not good enough at the business side of things. I'm not good enough at the numbers.
Okay.
The huge amount of work involved in running a fashion business, in marketing it, producing it, distributing it. It's a nightmare. It's just so much. There's so much to consider. And when I was at Folk, I was designing at the weekends, if I was lucky. If I wasn't too knackered, that's when I did all my design. So it's just really hard. You've got to be, And
the difference then was you didn't have kids, and now you've got 2 kids.
Then I had 2 kids,
living in Australia.
Yeah. I just, and then I was in my mind, I was like, does the world need another fashion brand? And I was like another, not really. And I sort of came to terms with it. It's just like an ego thing. It's like, I want to put and also I was really enjoying just designing for a brand. Anyway, so I sort of roughly came to that conclusion. And then I got lucky with, someone rang me up to say, do you want to go for this job at Next as a design manager? And I never thought I'd get a design manager role at Next. It's like a mega role. It's a beast of role. It's huge, isn't it? Massive company, and it's there's lots of people. So I met Richard Wiles in Tokyo.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, because he wouldn't, for an interview, because he wouldn't have flown to Australia, and it's like.
And you're not going to fly to the UK.
I would do.
Well, you would have done.
I offered Tokyo, and then he was like, "Yeah, sure, let's meet in Tokyo." And we went shopping, and we had a meal together. I really liked Richard Wiles. Well, I still really like him. Yeah,
so, he's still here. Yeah, he's still here. He's still here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's. So I really got along with him, and I did a couple of phone interviews with the head buyers, buy managers.
Yeah.
One of which is now my boss, Giles Finning.
Oh.
Yeah. So I did like a phone interview with him in the early days of video interviewing.
Oh wow! So that started out as basically being like quite well, because buy manager and design manager obviously wouldn't have to work really closely together.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought, well, it's a big risk moving countries and moving your family over, and I thought, well, I better meet the buying managers because either they'll be part of my success or part of my failure, like
absolutely
either way. So I really wanted to meet them. I mean, I should have asked to meet the merch managers as well, but no, I didn't, because in Australia you don't, the merch. I didn't really. Yeah, I should have thought about that. But anyway,
but it all worked out. It all worked out, Tom. It all worked out.
Yeah, I met Giles. Really loved. I really got a good vibe from Giles, and so I got that job. So that's how I got into Next, and it was all just sort of chance and moving around. Moving around helps, trying different companies. It's really helped me loads.
And how long you been here now then?
6 years. So I'm a newbie really still.
Fresh.
People stay here for how long have you been here?
14.
So you're sort of
you say
middling.
even that you say 14 and you're like, oh, is that all?
Compared to
because I bet Giles is
20 odd, Mandy's about 26 I think, or 25, Mark's 20 odd. Ages.
So if you're over 20, I think that's when people go, oh, okay, like you've been here.
You want to get to the big 2 plus 2 something.
2-0, 2-0 and above. But 14 years for me. So
next year you might get a voucher.
Yeah, I'll get my 15-year reward. Yeah.
Is that what do you get?
I don't know. Actually, we've just refreshed the whole way of that. Actually, redesigned them as well. I think you'll appreciate it. They look pretty slick, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
They look really good. So whereas before there wasn't as much emphasis, but long service awards we put loads of emphasis on because, like you say, at Next, it's very unique at Next.
You stay for life, hey? It's like a life choice.
It's weird. It's weird, but in a good way. Like you end up, you do stay here for, it's like, right, I've been here a couple of years and it's like, right, there's all this to go at. Well, that's the way I view it anyway.
It's growing, isn't it? And there's always something to go for. And it's just mega exciting because you're limited only by your imagination.
100%.
Well, and resources. No, I'm just kidding. Because there's always a way, isn't there? There's such a big company. There's always someone who'll be like, oh yeah, let's try that. And it's just so you can do anything. You can go, oh, I've got this idea, and then there's always a route to getting that done. And then often, because there's such bright people here, you can make loads of money out of any ideas.
100%. Yeah. I think for such a big company, there's so many little ideas that come out of it that make Next great. That make it. There's all the small ideas basically. It's not like we've got this one big idea and that's what everyone's working towards. I'm sure within your team there's little things going on. Is there anything new or that you can think of off the top of your head?
Not really, no. No, just kidding. Well, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking, of course. Can I talk about Graduate Fashion Week?
Yeah.
That's I've been working with Mel Castlebean. She's the women's wear. There's 2 women's wear design managers, or 3 really, but she's one of them. For the last 2 years, I've been working with her with Graduate Fashion Week, and we go down, we look at portfolios, and then we give them advice on, okay, well, if you change this, you're more likely to get a job, or how about a bit more of this or that or the other. And you see about 20 odd designers, and they'll have sent us a list of all these designers so we can sort of pre-review their folios, and we sort of see them one after another throughout a day. And then of those people, you can say some of those they might have amazing folios, so we can invite those in for job interviews. And then they can go from that. If they're successful in that job interview, they can go for our graduate trainee scheme, which is a year in working for us.
Oh, right. And often, brilliant.
Yeah, it's a really good a really good year for those guys, because they get to 6 months to sort of really understand what's going on, and then they've got another 6 months to really sort of showcase what they're capable of.
Nice.
And quite often those graduates end up working as an assistant designer here. So it's one part of that whole pipeline from graduate through to ultimately design manager. So it's like nice.
So we get value. Well, everyone gets value then. We're getting value by going down there and putting the next brand out there and bringing people into the business. Yeah. And they get value by they're getting all of this, a real good a route into fashion. Yeah.
And whether they choose to stay at Next or not, they end up either with an amazing folio and amazing contacts, and they might say, well, I would rather be in London, or I'd rather do something else. That's fine. They definitely end up with a year on there. Because that hardest few years for a designer is just after you graduate.
How come?
Well, most companies, if they want an assistant designer, will want 2 years minimum experience. Or it's not, because you grow so much in those first few years, most companies will look for that rather than a graduate, because there's a bit, moving from a graduate to an assistant designer is a big gap in experience, really. So this is a really good way in. You leave with a year's experience, and then that's plenty of experience for a bright young person.
And it's great as well that you're collaborating. You're not just looking after yourself on menswear. You're speaking to all the designers. You're all in it. You're all going, look, this is going to benefit everyone. So Mel, like you said, women's wear, head of women's wear design. Yeah. So you're working with her to make sure that designers coming into Next as a whole, not just. I'm just looking after menswear here.
Well, we want to make it bigger than that. So we went to Simon and we said we were interested in making this bigger. So Graduate Fashion Week did a pitch for us, and they said, well, if we can do an award, and we can set a project to all the universities. We can try and create something for buying and merchandising. Because they work with, also, as well as design, they work with merchandising and buying courses, fashion merchandising and buying courses across the country. So we're trying to expand it to other areas in the business,
Wow. So loads, and this is all happening next year, is it?
Yeah, 2024.
2024, yeah. So watch the next space, I guess.
Do you want another example as well, just in case we can't talk about this?
No. We can definitely talk about it. Yeah, right. We could definitely talk about it. Right. Like, it's just a little teaser, isn't it? So
it's a teaser, yeah.
Yeah, it's a teaser. Yeah, it's a teaser. So outside of Next then and stuff, do you? Because what's very apparent to me is like you love design.
Yes,
you love it. Is that fair to say? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Do you do you do anything still? Because you said at the start you were like, right, I'm going to set up my own business. I'm really doing that. But obviously you matured and...
I realised I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I was trying to phrase that in a more positive way. So.
I'm at one with myself. Yeah, go on.
So now, do you do anything out of work still?
Yeah. Loads.
Loads.
I do a lot of running.
Okay.
Which I love running. I go about three times a week. I'm in a running group. I do a lot of work. Parkrun. Do you?
Yeah.
Do you do parkrun?
Yeah, I've started running this summer. I'm probably going to tail back in the winter.
Oh no, man! Come out with me.
But what are you doing? Are you doing like 10Ks or?
So I do a help set up. When I say help set up, I did a very small amount of work to help set up a parkrun. With a committee of people. And so we've got a new parkrun in Beacon Hill.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah, it's hilly.
Wow,
you go up and down the hill, and it's brilliant. It's a beautiful parkrun. But usually I marshal these days, because they're like, we need timekeepers, we need people checking tokens and stuff, and then we need someone at the crossroads at the top doing this. That way.
Is that you?
They get me to do that one every time. Yeah. So I do that, and I do a lot of running as well. I did an interesting project recently. We've got the scout group. My kids go to scouts. I'm a scout leader.
Nice.
And then we had we got a new scout hut, right? A new scout hut built, and it's amazing. It looks really good. And then next to it, to store all our kit, all the camping kit and stuff, everything, we've got a shipping container. and it's like got, had OCCL or whatever the logo is on it. And it was all
really
rusty.
nice. I bet you loved the logo, yeah.
I did like the logo.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I mean, I
You
do
did?
like shipping container logos. There's some really nice ones. The Maersk one's pretty... Anyway, so the council asked me to paint it, to do a picture on it or something, a mural. So I found an art teacher, and she came to our scout night, and she got them all drawing leaves and things like that, right?
Okay.
And then I went to the council and said, look, here's a mood board to show what I think we can create. I did a little mood board for them.
I love that you're taking a mood board to the council.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird. They just said, like, oh, can you turn up to a council meeting? And I turned up with a mood board, and they're the funniest things ever, council meetings.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
You're like, what? How does things get decided? Anyway, so it was brilliant. I really like our head councillor. He's a mega dude. Anyway, so I turned up with a mood board and some scout artworks, and I said, oh, I think we can do this. And then they showed my mood boards around, and all these councils were like, yes, I like that one, let's do that. And then I found a graphic designer, and I did a freelance. I asked her to freelance. Yeah. And she got the work of the scouts and sort of combined all their work and sort of made a sort of look good together. And then she gave it back to me. I did pay her, by the way. I sort of like made it fit into the container and made sure the color scheme was what the council had approved, right?
Right.
And then I got all the scouts together during one hot week in August. I think it was in August. I took a week off work.
Yeah.
I sort of covered it all in like rust-proof paint, like a coat, and then I sort of chalked it out with a grid.
Right.
So it's very easy. You just put a grid on, and then you sort of chalk it out the patterns. And then I got all these scouts around, and we just got all loads of colours, and they all had to just fill it in. The ones that weren't brilliant at painting just had to fill in, and then the ones that were good at painting did the outlines, the same colour.
Okay.
Yeah,
Clever.
just careful outlines. And then a load of locals just turned up as well. Like one of the parents is a policeman, and he turned up, and he's brilliant at art.
Oh wow!
And then the art teacher turned up, and so there's a load of grown-ups there. And I just went from person to person saying, okay, a bit more of that, bit less of that. And then within probably about 4 days, it was done. And it looks amazing. I'll send you a picture. It looks amazing.
Yeah, definitely do.
I was dead proud of it.
Was you?
Yeah.
I can tell from like how you're describing it as well.
It was really good. And then the council popped by throughout the whole thing, and I was terrified. They were going to be like, what the hell's this? But they were like, it seems like all of them are happy with me, or at least I've not heard any negative comments. But they're pretty happy, the council.
So interesting to hearing you say that though, because it's like you can just see your passion of design's just in everything, even in working in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I'm having a renovation project at the moment, and
not as passionate.
No, because it's like, well, yeah, I love it. I really enjoy it. It's just, my wife, you got to leave my wife's making the decisions there because she's kind of making the decisions, yeah.
Well, I think that's been a real good insight, Tom, into menswear design and you as well. So thanks for coming on the podcast.
All right. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. It's been really good chatting, and maybe have you on again in the future.
Anytime.